Very good morning and welcome back to another episode of KSI Morning Brief. This is Mashood and joining with me today is Anjana to take you through the latest on world markets and news. To begin with, global markets. The chart shows the top 5 most widely held stocks by each class of investor. Retail investors either strongly believe that air travel is going to come back or they are simply picking the stocks that have lost the most value during the global lockdown. Institutional investors, in contrast, are betting on electronic back-office products, particularly payments. One notable spot of overlap is that Microsoft makes both lists in the 7th and 9th positions. US futures retreated along with Asian shares and the dollar climbed against the major peers as investors estimated the danger of a second wave of coronavirus infections. S&P 500 futures slid about 1.5%. Stocks in Hong Kong saw the bulk of selling, with losses also in Australia, Japan, and South Korea. More than 20 US states are seeing a pickup in cases. Tokyo reported a jump over the weekend and a fresh outbreak in Beijing prompted officials to close a market there. Second wave concerns have battered shares on Thursday before a modest rebound Friday. Crude oil prices slid and treasuries climbed. Meanwhile, in the technology industry, in South Korea, semiconductor exports rose in May, and the imports of equipment used in producing semiconductors surged 168%, the trade ministry data showed. Taiwan's electronic component exports, which include chips, grew 13.2% in May to $10.2 billion, even as total exports fell 2% from a year earlier. The electronics industry is holding up relatively well amid the pandemic as companies adapt new technologies, including 5G equipment and automation tools. Looking at the key events for the week, policy decisions from the Bank of Japan, Bank of England, and the Swiss National Bank is expected this week. China on Monday will release the industrial production and retail sales data for May. The Chicago Board of Exchange plans to open its trading floor, which has been electronic only since March 16th. Federal Reserve Chairman will deliver his semi-annual policy report to the Congress. Next on global news, we have Anjana to bring you some latest updates.
Thank you, Mashood. Now looking at global news, Bank of England Governor Andrew Bailey has said that he will be ready to take actions to help the UK's economy weather the coronavirus crisis. It was said that the UK's economy shrank by 20.4% in April, the largest monthly contraction on record as the country spent its full month in lockdown. The British Airways to sell art collections to raise cash. British Airways is selling some of its multi-million pound art collection to raise cash to help it through the coronavirus pandemic. More news from the Europe. German airline Lufthansa has said that it will cut 22,000 jobs as it struggles to deal with the slump in air travel caused by the coronavirus pandemic. The carrier predicted a slow recovery in demand and expected to have about 100 fewer aircraft after the crisis. Now looking at the latest COVID-19 updates. Total cases around the world has reached 7.9 million with 433,953 deaths reported. Total recoveries have gone past 4 million with 120,385 daily cases were reported. Meanwhile, in Sri Lanka, 1,889 total cases have been reported with 11 deaths, and the total recoveries are at 1,287. 5 new cases were reported during the last 24 hours. On the latest vaccine updates, on Saturday, guidelines were released for doctors to use investigational antiviral medication, remdesivir, in treating India's COVID-19 patients. However, there is still little clarity on how patients can access the drug. In other COVID-19 related news, A district in the Chinese capital is under a strict lockdown due to a coronavirus cluster at the city's biggest wholesale market. The new cases have sparked fears of a second wave of infection. Meanwhile, Spain will open its borders to travelers from most of the EU countries from June 21st. This is after moving the original date by 10 days. India is to convert 500 railway carriages to create 8,000 beds for coronavirus patients in Delhi amid a surge in infection. The total number of 320,922 officially confirmed cases puts India fourth in the world after the US, Brazil, and Russia. And that's it from KSI Morning Brief today. We'll be joining you again tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Thank you.